The rain had just started when Tom spotted her, curled near the edge of the road, fur-soaked, breathing slow. A bobcat, small, hurt. But her eyes were still burning gold. He stepped closer, slowly. "Easy now," he whispered, kneeling beside her. Her ribs rose and fell, barely. One leg was twisted. Blood matted her side. Still, she didn't run. She didn't even flinch. She just looked at him. Tom's heart tightened. He'd seen death before. Too much of it. But this wasn't death. This was a fight. A silent one. "You're not giving up, are you?" he muttered. His voice cracked in the cold. With trembling hands, he removed his jacket and wrapped it gently around her fragile body. Her ear twitched. That was enough. "You're safe now," he whispered, lifting her with care. "I've got you." As he carried her toward the truck, she didn't struggle, just stayed still, eyes on him. Something inside Tom shifted, like an old door creaking. Open. He didn't know it yet, but this rescue would rescue him too. Tom laid her down on the old blanket beside the fireplace. She didn't flinch, didn't even blink, just breathed, slow and shallow. The cabin was quiet, except for the soft ticking of rain on the tin roof. He sat beside her, elbows on knees, eyes fixed on her motionless body. "You're tough," he muttered, brushing a leaf from her fur. "But you're not okay." Hours passed. Still no movement. He offered her water. She didn't look, not even a growl. Tom leaned back in his chair, rubbing his hands. His voice cracked. "I've seen war. I've seen men scream and break. But I've never seen something fight so silently." The fire crackled. Outside, the wind picked up. "I'll keep watch," he whispered, voice barely above the flames. Her ear twitched again. Just once. Tom noticed. He didn't smile, just nodded. She was still in there, somewhere, holding on, and so was he. She didn't eat the first day, or the second. Tom warmed up chicken, rabbit, even fish. Nothing worked. Her eyes stayed half-closed, her breath shallow. The swelling in her leg looked worse. Tom sat by the fire, watching her, helpless. "You've got to want it, Ember," he whispered. "I can't do this alone." He cleaned her wounds gently every morning, changed her bandages. She never growled, never moved. It felt like she was fading. By the fifth night, Tom barely slept. He sat beside her with his head in his hands. The clock ticked, the fire cracked, and then a low, sharp growl. Tom's head snapped up. Ember's eyes were open, wide this time. Her teeth bared. Not in fear, in warning. He didn't move, just smiled. "That's it, girl," he said softly. "Show me you're still in there." Didn't growl again. But she didn't close her eyes either. For the first time, Tom saw something new in her face. Fight. The wild wasn't gone, just buried. And now, it stirred. Ember's eyes were still open when the truck pulled in. Tom stepped outside, holding the door just long enough for the cold to slip in. Lily stood beside the truck, clutching a backpack too big for her. 8 years old. No words since the fire. Tom placed a hand on her shoulder. "Come on in, kiddo." She didn't look at him, just stepped inside, her eyes scanning the cabin, then stopping. Ember. The girl didn't blink. Neither did the bobcat. They stared at each other like they'd known pain in the same way. Tom moved to speak but stopped himself. He watched instead. Lily dropped her bag, walked slowly toward the blanket. Ember didn't move. She sat down, cross-legged, inches away, quiet, still. Minutes passed. No sound. Then Lily whispered, barely audible, "Hi." Tom's chest tightened. Ember lifted her head just a little and blinked. 2 broken souls. One human, one wild. Somehow, they saw each other, not with fear, but with something closer to understanding. Lily came back the next morning. She didn't speak, just sat beside Ember's crate, legs crossed, hands in her lap. Tom watched from the porch, coffee in hand. Day after day, the same quiet scene. No games, no laughter, just the silence of two souls too bruised to speak. Sometimes Ember looked at her. Sometimes she didn't, but she never turned away. By the 5th day, Lily hadn't said a word, but her eyes told stories, pain, loss, hope. That afternoon, just as Tom was heading inside, he heard it, soft, shaky. "Don't leave me." He stopped. In his tracks, Ember moved. Slowly, gently, she stretched out one paw toward the girl, not close enough to touch, but close enough to say, "I'm here." Tom's throat tightened. He leaned against the doorframe, staring at them. "She's choosing you, kid," he whispered to himself. No words, just trust, built slowly, in the quiet space between what was lost and what might be found. The silence between Lily and Ember had become something sacred, but that peace didn't last. Tom came back from town, jaw tight. "Poachers," he said. "Spotted near the ridge. 2 deer gone, maybe more." Lily looked up from beside Ember's crate. Her eyes filled with worry. "Stay close," Tom told her. "No wandering. I mean it." That night the wind shifted. Ember wouldn't lie down. She paced, restless, ears twitching at every creak. Her body moved like a shadow, tense, alert. Tom sat near the window, rifle across his lap. The fire barely glowed now. Then it came. A gunshot. Loud. Too close. Lily jumped. Ember froze. Another shot echoed through the trees. Then, silence. Tom stood, eyes locked on the woods. "This forest ain't safe no more," Ember growled low, deep in her throat. Not fear. Warning. Tom tightened his grip. "We're not losing anyone tonight." Outside, the darkness thickened. But inside that cabin, something stronger stirred. Fear, yes, but also fire. And they all felt it. Ember most of all. The next morning, Ember still hadn't settled. She paced, ears high, tail twitching. Tom stepped outside to check the fence and stopped cold. A trap, just feet from her enclosure. Metal teeth, fresh rope. His hand shook as he picked it up. It wasn't just danger, it was a message. He stared at it for a long time. Too long. Lily stepped outside. "What's that?" Tom didn't look at her. "A trap." She stayed quiet. After a moment, he sighed. "I used to set these, long ago, before I knew better." Lily stepped closer. "We all got blood on our hands," Tom said, voice low. "But it's what we do. Next, that counts." He threw the trap into the fire pit. Flames hissed as the metal sparked. Behind them, Ember growled softly. Not at them. At the woods. Something was coming, and whatever it was, it remembered him too. The trap was gone, but the fear lingered. That morning, Ember didn't pace. She crouched, watching the cabin door. Waiting. Tom entered slowly, a soft smile on his face. He knelt beside her, holding a strip of cooked meat. "Let's try again, girl," he said gently. Ember lifted her head. Then, with a shaky motion, she pushed up on her front legs. Her back ones gave out. She dropped with a thud. Lily gasped. "She's okay," Tom whispered. "She's not done," Ember growled. Not in pain, in frustration. And then, she tried again. This time she stood, wobbly, bent, but standing. Lily's voice was soft, trembling. "You can do it." Tom reached for a rope, laid it across the floor like a guide. Day by day, he helped her walk, just a few steps at a time. He never forced, just encouraged. And slowly, step by step, trust grew between them all, not just healing bones, but healing something deeper, something none of them could name yet. That night, Lily woke up screaming. Tom rushed to her room, but the bed was empty. The door stood wide open. "Lily," he shouted, heart racing. "Lily, where are you?" He grabbed his flashlight, slipped on boots, and ran into the dark. Ember was already gone. Her crate door nudged open. Tom followed the trail, crushed leaves, small prints, and paw marks. Half an hour later, he spotted them, in the middle of the clearing. Burnt trees, charred ground. Lily sat in the ashes, hugging, her knees, sobbing. Ember stood next to her, unmoving, guarding. Tom walked slowly, voice low. "Lily, you scared me." She didn't look up. "This is where it happened," she whispered. "The fire, my family." Ember sat down beside her, tail curled tight, not touching, just close. Tom knelt, voice soft. "You're not alone." The wind moved through the broken trees, but none of them spoke. In the silence, a new bond grew, one born not from rescue, but shared pain and quiet understanding. Since the night in the clearing, Ember had changed. Her limp was gone, her strength returning fast. But something was off. She kept staring toward the hills, ears twitching, muscles tight. Tom noticed it first. "She's listening to something," he muttered. Lily sat near the crate. "She growled last night at nothing." That same night, Tom checked the trail cams. He sat frozen as the screen loaded. 3 men, rifles, moving through the trees. He clenched his jaw. "They're back." Lily looked up. "Poachers," he nodded slowly, "and they're hunting again." The next morning, Ember wouldn't eat. She paced near the door, eyes locked on the woods. "She knows," Tom said. "Feels it." Lily knelt by her. "Is she scared?" Tom shook his head. "Not scared. Ready." Ember's eyes locked with his. Golden, fierce. There was something in those eyes. Not fear, not pain. It was memory, and Tom knew. Whatever was coming, Ember had faced it before, and this time, she wasn't running. The next day, Tom took a walk near the property line. Something didn't feel right. Ember had stayed restless all night. About 30 feet into the woods, he stopped. A deep cut in the bark. A strange symbol. 3 slashes and a circle. His stomach dropped. It wasn't random. It was a mark, a message. He touched it, hand shaking. "They've been here." Later that evening, Ember circled the cabin. Her eyes locked onto that same trail. Then she vanished into the trees. Tom followed quietly. She stopped at the same marked tree, growled low, and then, with one fierce swipe, she scratched deep into the wood. Tom froze. "She knows them," he whispered. Lily appeared behind him. "What do you mean?" He looked at her, eyes wide. "This isn't just fear. This is memory." Ember stood still, her paw resting on the scarred bark. And suddenly, it wasn't just about surviving anymore. It was about something older, something unfinished, something coming back. Tom worked fast, hands steady. He set the decoy trap near the marked tree, covering it with leaves and bait. "Let's see if they take the bait," he muttered. From the edge of the woods, Ember watched. Still, focused, her body tense. She growled, low, warning him. Tom turned. "It's okay, girl. I've got this." But she didn't relax. Something wasn't right. Later that night, the forest was too quiet. Tom and Lily waited by the cabin with binoculars and a walkie. Then, snap. Tom grinned. Got one. But when they reached the spot, the trap was empty. The bait was gone. And worse, Ember was missing. Tom's heart dropped. She followed them. He whispered. Lily grabbed his arm. What if it's a setup? He didn't answer. He already knew. They hadn't fallen for his trap. They'd made one of their own, and Ember had walked right into it. Lily bolted upright, breath caught in her throat. Ember! She screamed. Tom rushed in, heart pounding. What happened? She's gone, Lily cried. I had a dream. She was trapped. Tom didn't wait. He grabbed his flashlight and rifle. Stay here. Lock the door. The woods swallowed him fast. He moved quickly, calling Ember's name into the dark, a sudden rustle to the left. He froze. Light sweeping through the trees. Then he saw it, near a broken branch, half buried in leaves, Ember's collar. Still warm. One small feather clung to it. Tom picked it up slowly. No, he whispered. Not like this. He scanned. The area. Tracks. Human boots. Drag marks. They took her, he growled. Behind him, the forest was still, but Tom's hands were shaking, not with fear, with rage. This wasn't just about Ember anymore. Someone had stolen family, and Tom was going to get her back, whatever it took. Tom moved fast through the woods, flashlight shaking in his hand. Lily followed close behind, silent but trembling. Tracks lead this way, he said, voice tight. They followed broken branches, fresh prints, a smear of red on a rock. Then, Tom stopped. His breath caught. There she was. Ember, snared to a tree, her leg twisted in wire. Blood soaked her fur. But she was alive. Ember, Lily cried. Tom rushed to her side. Her eyes locked onto his. She didn't growl. She didn't pull away. She just looked at him. He knelt, hands shaking. I'm here, girl. I've got you. When he touched her, Ember let out a sound he'd never heard before. Not a cry, not a growl, a broken, soft sound, like a sob. Tom's throat tightened. I'm sorry. I should have protected you. Lily knelt beside them. She waited for us. Ember closed her eyes, just for a second, and in that moment, even through the pain, there was fire. Not of rage, but of trust and survival. Tom carried Ember back. She was weak, but her eyes burned with something fierce. She wanted to finish what had started. At dawn, he followed the poacher's tracks. Lily stayed behind, clutching Ember's collar. Tom reached the old clearing. 3 men stood near a fire, rifles slung and laughing. He stepped out. You set a trap for her, he said. Now you deal with me. One man smirked. You gonna stop us, old man? Tom didn't answer. A low growl rose from behind the trees. The poachers turned. First came the wolves. 2, silent and sharp-eyed. Then a bear, massive and slow, blocking escape. And finally, Ember. She stepped forward from the ridge, limping, bloody but proud. The poachers backed up, panic in their eyes. Tom lowered his rifle. You see that? That's nature saying she's done with you. The growls grew louder. The poachers ran, tripping, falling, vanishing into the woods. Ember didn't chase. She just stared, watching, and in that still moment, the forest took back its voice. Not with violence, with justice. The woods were still. The poachers were gone, just echoes of their boots fading into the trees. Tom stood frozen. Ember remained on the ridge for a moment longer, then slowly limped down. She crossed the clearing, quiet, steady, until she reached him. And then she pressed her head against his leg. Tom let out a shaky breath. You came back, he whispered, his hand trembling as it touched her fur. Lily appeared from behind the trees, eyes wide. She didn't speak, just watched. Ember didn't flinch, didn't run. She stood there between them, not trapped, not broken, whole. The forest felt different now. Not afraid, not angry, just quiet. Balanced. Tom looked down at her. "You saved more than yourself today." Ember blinked once, slowly. She wasn't just wild anymore. She was something stronger, forgiven, forgiving, and somehow, in her silence, she gave them all peace. The days grew warmer. Snow melted from the hills. Ember healed faster than anyone expected. Her limp faded. Her strength returned. She no longer needed help. Tom watched her chase squirrels near the edge of the woods. Lily laughed, eyes bright. For the first time in months, the cabin felt full of light. But one morning, Ember didn't come back. Her bed was empty, no tracks near the porch. Tom searched the clearing, heart tight. Then he saw them, faint paw prints leading into the trees. He followed them a few steps and stopped. They didn't curve. They didn't return. They just kept going. Lily stood behind him, tears in her eyes. "She's gone?" Tom nodded slowly. "She's free." Lily wiped her face, trying to smile. "She waited until we were okay." Tom placed a hand on her shoulder. "She gave us everything she had." They stood there in silence, watching the forest breathe again, and even though it hurt, they knew. Ember hadn't left them. She had simply chosen her own path. Weeks passed. The woods were quiet again, but something always felt missing. Tom still left food near the tree line. Not because he expected her, but because hope doesn't leave so easily. Lily checked every morning. "Maybe today," she'd say, voice soft, but the path stayed empty. Then one night, just as the sun dipped behind the hills, Tom froze. Two golden eyes blinked from the shadows. Low, still, watching. He stepped outside slowly. "Ember?" No sound. Just those eyes, and then another smaller shape stepped beside her. A cub. Tom's breath caught. Lily stood behind him, barely whispering, "She has a baby." Ember didn't move closer. She just stood there, wild and proud. The cub nudged her side. She looked at Tom one last time, and then, just like before, she turned and vanished into the trees, not running, not hiding, leaving, on her terms. Lily wiped her eyes. "She remembers." Tom nodded, smiling through the ache. "She always will." Ember was no longer theirs. She belonged to the wild, but for a moment, just one, she came home.